Welcome to Seeing Scarlet. It's Shelby here with Tyler, and it is Big 12 championship week for softball. We're going to talk about that in a minute. We're headed to the Big 12 tournament starting up on Thursday for Texas Tech. They have a bye. It actually starts up tomorrow, but they don't have to play till Thursday. We're going to get into all of that. We're going to get into them beating BYU to go 8 for 8, as Tyler's little thing there says, on Conference Series 1. Crazy stat, really. Didn't lose a single conference series. That's hype. So a lot of softball in this episode, as always, because it's that time of year and they deserve it. We'll get into the Lady Raiders. They added another player, Sidney Love, really good player. If you haven't seen it, we did a whole episode on her. Go check it out. Talked all about her, but we'll give you a little bit of a brief chat. A little bit of a revelation I had on Sidney Love. It's a good one. I'll tease. Hang around for the Sidney Love section. We'll get into that. Also, that same team, women's basketball's headed over international this summer. I don't know if I've talked about it on the show. I've hinted about it elsewhere on the ether about them getting to play in an international tournament for USA. We'll talk about that a little bit and what that is and what that means and who can play and who can't play. And then tennis. Women's tennis had a great season. Finished up this weekend. Lost to Stanford, but great year. We'll give you the recap on when we went down there. Baseball, track, all the things going on. But we're getting down to that time of year where it's a lot of stickball, Tyler. And that's what it was for us this past weekend. Texas Tech up at BYU, a beautiful place to play. That's where we were. But how's it going, Tyler?
It's going. We're pushing through finals week.
Right,
Just
you have finals.
yeah, very. What didn't add to the stress of finals week was, usually our series this year we would win the first two games. We never had a rubber match in conference, and then we got to that rubber match, and I was stressing the entire weekend. But we made it through. We beat BYU. We did the thing. So yeah, but usually most of this, I think all the
Arizona,
series we won. We won the
but
first two. Oh, Arizona,
yes.
that's right. But we won the
Yeah.
last two, so technically
Yeah.
it didn't.
We didn't never
Yeah,
lose the middle game is what you're getting at.
right. The
That's
middle
probably
game.
accurate. I'm going to take your word for that. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah.
yeah, we beat BYU. We did the damn thing, and yeah, Glasgow keeps his streak alive, which I'm mostly happy
That
about. Like
is
that's what I was really looking
true.
forward to.
Yeah, I put that tweet out there, and sometimes I forget, like, how many of y'all don't watch our show because everyone was like, is this stat real? Like, people didn't believe me. They were like, this stat is fake. I was like, well, one, we've talked about this like every week for the last whatever on our show, and I've mentioned it before. So, no, it's a real stat. He has won every conference series he's ever coached as a head coach. 8 seasons now. I don't care who you're
Crazy
playing.
stat.
That's a crazy stat. And then you got people trying to downplay it. Again, I don't care who you're playing. That's a crazy stat.
It is.
So congrats to him, but also that's a lot of great players that he's brought in and coached and had on his teams over the years. And there's a lot of great players on this team. And that's what we got to see on display, definitely, in Game 1 up in Provo. A beautiful place, mountains everywhere, picturesque ballpark. And they went up there and they won 9-4. It was 9-0 going into the bottom of the 7th, and maybe 9-1. Actually, they got a home run earlier in the game. We got a little tricky with it and let them get a few more runs, but that doesn't matter. We jumped out on them early, scored in the first inning, and kind of just trickled in runs thereafter. I think won every inning for a bit, and then got a hold of the game later, and that was all we needed to do. But what were your thoughts on Game 1 before we fire up the highlights?
Yeah, I really like the way that we came out really strong with the bats and our hitting. It was kind of good to see that and just see us, start off strong in a groove because as we were talking about, BYU plays really well in Provo, and we knew that this was going to be a tough series and they love to come back. So for us to get that cushion really early in this game, I really like that. The ending was a little weird with all the pitching changes. Like it seemed like everyone was just swapping. Yeah, I don't know what was going on there, but it worked out. We ended up getting the win, but yeah, it was just good to have that cushion so that I guess we could test out whatever we were trying to test out before we get into serious postseason play. So I don't know,
I
but
think it was a substitution thing where they didn't want to lose maybe Sam or Brindley out of the lineup. And so to keep them both in there, they had to just keep changing back and forth. Instead, I don't know. That's what someone was explaining to me. Softball has a lot of tricky roster lineup moves, and I'm
it
still
does.
trying to learn them all, if I'm being honest. But I think
Same.
that's what it was. I
Okay.
don't think it was actually them wanting to switch back every other batter. I don't know what was going on, but it was weird. It didn't bother BYU. They were like, okay, fine. And they scored 3 runs during that mess. But yeah, they got out of there with the win. Let's watch the highlights. And again, these are from the Big 12 conference, so we might get to see what we just talked about because this will have BYU's highlights in it.
Elder laces a ball into the left center field gap.
All right, sorry about that. Technology, man. But Maya Davis got on to start the game. Demi Elder was in the 2-hole in this game, and she brought Maya around. It was 1-0. Let them know.
And Davis came all the way around from first base.
Speed.
There we go. Speed. Look at that.
She's so fast. Like, you didn't even need to slide. Just did it for kicks. Naja had herself a day at the plate. I think she ends up with 4 RBI in this. That's one of them.
Yes. 4 RBI, 3 for 4, 1 run.
A double. You just saw the double. She'll have a home run later. And oh yeah, she was pretty good at pitching in this.
Yeah, 8 strikes, just casually.
Great defense all series. Glasgow talked about that in his press conference today. They had a press conference at the facilities today, and he talked about how good the defense was in this series. And it was. It probably won us game 3 for sure. It kept us in game 2. We ended up losing that, but it kept us in it.
Check throw down to second. It's 5-0.
Lana again, just steady. She's one of our postseason players with a lot of experience from Washington, so it's good to have her heating up at the right time.
It's not gonna happen.
This pitcher for BYU. Oh, this is the second day was tough, but all of them were really nasty on their changeups, and we had issues with it.
We did.
Rocked into left field. Home run number 19.
This girl is really good. Really good. No, this is Brittingham, their freshman.
Oh, Brittingham. Oh,
but yeah,
okay,
Mikowski has I think she got the home run in game 2, maybe that one. But Brittingham had a home run in game 1 and game 3, maybe. Freshman leads the Big 12 in home runs. Her teammate probably. How about this? Najee says I can do that too. JK later. Spoiler alert. Another RBI. She gave up a run in the top half, or in the bottom half of the last inning. She got it right back. And then...
There we go.
I mean, crushed. We talked about the off-speed. We had some trouble with off-speed in this series. She didn't have any trouble with that one. She timed that one up, and it was yow. She, because of her injury that she's been battling, just has not gotten to get, she didn't hit for the entire month of April, maybe? March, I guess? March and April. About a month there she didn't hit. So imagine what her stats would be if she had. Because she's doing all this in about 75 at-bats.
And she's still top 5 in the WAR rating, too. I think she's hanging at number 4, number 3. So even with that, she's still, with that month off, hanging in there.
She might be 3rd on her team in RBI, if not 2nd as well.
Let's go, Naj.
Did her job there.
Choice from third base. It's now 9-1, and
here's them scoring a couple of runs in this inning. We don't
know what happened.
Tony almost made the play there, but
and the Cougars will have at least one more.
Oh, this game also had a sun delay. Never heard of that before, but
yeah, it's always something new. Always something new in softball, baseball. There's always things that happen that I'm like, excuse me, a sun delay? You can see the sun in this picture for the ones that are confused. The sun is right behind home plate or center field, and so if it's peeking between those little.
But the Red Raiders, after giving up 3,
I thought they were batter's eye things, but turns out they'd have blocked the sun. It wasn't doing its job for about 5 minutes, though. So that was game 1. Again, a little bit of weirdness at the end, but they got out of it. Brindley came in. Sam and Brindley both had good moments in that. I just think it was a weird situation, and they were having a hard time getting any rhythm. I don't know how you possibly could. But good learning experience. There might be moments where we need them to come in and get one out or one batter or whatever, and they have to be able to do that. So wasn't terrible, but we got out of it and won. So, did you go through the box score already for this? I've not run through it because there's a lot of people that did well in this game.
There was a lot of people that did well. Nyjah, as we said, pitched 5.2 innings, had 8 strikeouts, only allowed 1 earned run on that 1 homer from Brittingham. And then at the plate, she went 3 for 4, had 1 run, 4 RBIs, a homer, and a double. Maya Davis went 1 for 5. It had an RBI and then a run, but her base running was elite in this game. Demi Elder, she went 1 for 3, had an RBI and a double. Bailey Lindemuth went 2 for 3, had 1 run and also a double. Lauren Allred went 1 for 2, had 1 run and 1 RBI. And then Alana Johnson went 2 for 3, had 3 runs and 2 RBIs. As we said, Alana keeping solid. And then lastly, Vic ended with that double, went 1 for 3 and got that run in.
Yeah, it was a true team effort, and this is what you'd say. Obviously, Nyjah Kennedy had herself a game at the plate, and in the circle, she was everything you'd expect for the best player in college softball. I said what I said. I don't know who wants to argue with me on that, but there's some good players out there, but the way she does it both ways, especially playing, I don't think she's even 100%. I mean, Glasco talked about that in his presser today. They think she's gotten closer to 90%, and I feel good about that, but that tells you that we haven't seen 100% Nyjah in a while, and she's still doing this stuff, so... Yeah, that was game 1. We flip ahead to game 2. We're not going to show you the highlights. We're not going to put you through that. But it was, honestly, I wish the highlights existed. I tried to find them because the defense was so good for us. Both teams, really.
It was.
I mean, we had great defensive plays in this game. We had double plays. We had a diving catch from Alexa Langelier. She made another crazy, sliding stop in the hole to throw someone out at first. I think we had a couple plays in the outfield. Tony was great. Lindemuth was great at third. Everybody was making great plays to keep us in this game because our bats were struggling to take advantage. I feel like we had more hits in this game, at least for much of the game we did. If not, honestly, they get 1 hit in this game. No, that's the third game. Never mind. Take that away. But anyway, I think we had a lot of hits in this game. We had more people in scoring position for sure. Just couldn't take advantage of it. I think in the first 3 innings, we had somebody in scoring position every single inning. Couldn't get them around. 4th inning, we still had somebody on base. Couldn't get them around. And it just kind of went through that. Credit to BYU. Their pitcher was nasty. The drop ball she had working was ridiculous. I'm talking I don't know how you could hit it, but I'm not a softball player either. It was tough. So I think, what was her name? I'm blanking on her name. Kate Dolly. Really good. Interested to see how she does for them in the Big 12 tournament. But yeah, it was a defensive battle. We ended up losing 2-1 on a late 2-run home run from them in the 6th inning, maybe? It was late. Yeah, it was in the bottom of the 6th, and then we had 3 outs, and we kind of went quietly in the top half. So I think we also broke the school record for stolen bases in that game, I believe. I know, wasn't that game that happened in?
I think it was that game.
Michaela Garcia, so that's the story from this game if you're looking for a positive. Sucks that we lost. Chloe Riasetto got the loss in this game. I think she gave up the home run late in the game, but this was not on her. She pitched great, in my opinion, against a really good hitting team. BYU that hits a lot of home runs. They were bound to get a home run eventually. We needed to give her more run support, and those 2 runs wouldn't have mattered. Basically, at the end of the game, she was great in this stance out of trouble. Really good. Nyjah came in once in this game, but I think she got 1 or 2 outs, but the rest of it was Chloe. So credit her. She looked great, which is good going into postseason. BYU was just better than us in this game, and that happens. But we did set the school record for stolen bases, which fun little anecdote and story that will forever live on. Well, until we break it again, I guess. For now, is Michaela Garcia, sophomore on the team, is who got the stolen base to set the record. She's a Lubbock native, so it feels right.
Right, that's sort
to have her name in the record books as being the one that said it. So, and then she came around to score what at the time you thought was going to be the winning run because it was like a 0-0 game going into the 5th. She got on, stole second. Someone drove her in, I can't remember who, and probably Allred if I was guessing because that's who always drives us in. I don't know who it was, but drove her in, and then we couldn't hold the lead. But shout out her. That was a fun part of that game. If you have any other thoughts, we can move into the next.
Yeah, like you said, in game two, Chloe, I think did her job right. Like usually, like even last year at Louisiana, all of Chloe's like huge wins that she had. Usually those games were like a lot of like 8 to 9 victories, but this was a full-on defensive battle, and I think that just goes to show like that's something that we're gonna have to work on in the postseason. Is we're gonna have like it seems like our bats just get very like frozen and just I don't know. We just have those off days with hitting, and we're just gonna have to be able to because there's going to be a point in the season where it's win or go home, right? And that's where you're going to really have to fix you're mentally you're going to have to be ready at the plate. You're just going to have to try to work on what that pitcher is giving you, kind of work on it. Obviously we still have we have a few more games to figure that out until it starts getting like win or go home, but definitely it's just something that kind of have to work on because I really wanted Chloe to get that win because it was just a gritty win. She was throwing some great stuff out there. And I mean, yeah, BYU, they're one of the best home run hitting teams in the conference. It was bound to happen. Really wish we could have got things going, especially when there was like, situations, as you said, you get runners in scoring position, 0 outs, and then all of a sudden it just is all falling apart at the end. But at least we were able to take it into Sunday where we were able to get that win.
Yeah, for sure. I think that it was a postseason type game. This whole series was. BYU really played as well the last couple of games, especially. So you would say learn from it. Well, I mean, it's the same score in game 3. We just flipped it and won, so we were able to learn from that quickly and find a way to win at least. But I'll give some notes from the press conference that happened today. And Glasgow talked about this series and what and kind of what you talked about. Someone brought up sometimes the lulls in the hitting and stuff, and he kind of talked about, well, that's just going to happen because as you get late in the year, you're going to be playing better pitchers. And so he's like, that's kind of part of it, is you're not going to blow people out as much this time of year because you're going to be facing people's aces more often. BYU needed to win. They're not trying to save arms at this point. They're throwing their people, like you're not going to run into 4th, 5th string pitchers or whatever this time of year. But he's like, yeah, we don't shy away from it. We acknowledge it. It was good to learn that there were certain pitches and the way that he was really complimentary of their pitching coach, who's a little bit of a legend in softball. Just go look him up, from a legendary family and all the things. Anyway, he was very complimentary of their BYU pitching coach and the way that they kept us off balance. And he's like, but it was good to learn that. And so it's something we're going to work on and practice this week because today they were having practice after that. So they don't shy away from it, which I appreciate. Glasgow never does. He doesn't be like, whatever. He's like, no, we don't ignore it. We know, acknowledge where we need to get better, and we work on that and see where it takes us. In some ways we are who we are as a team right now, but also there's other ways to get better. So yeah, for sure. Found a way to win it the next day, though. Not easy to go into that final game of the year. BYU feeling good. They feel like maybe they just punched their ticket to the postseason. They beat a top 10 team. And their home stadium. If they can do this, they can beat a top 10 team in a series. That would definitely punch their ticket to the postseason. And it was a close battle. And at one point, they hit a home run late in this game. When did they hit that home run? They hit a home run at some point off of Nyjah to make it 2-1. Maybe we got two runs, and you're like, oh, here we go again. You know what I mean? But that was the only hit that Nyjah Kennedy gave up all game. It would have been a no-hitter if that Brittingham freshman, I believe it was, again, didn't hit one. God, she's such a good hitter. Like, just a great hitter. Tip your cap. But otherwise, another good defensive battle. Like, we just kind of made plays. The offense wasn't missing there was definitely opportunities that we didn't capitalize in this game, but it wasn't to the degree of game 2. We just honestly weren't getting on base as much. But it wasn't like we were getting thrown out all the time and stuff where it felt like in game 2. It just wasn't, I don't know, we weren't in scoring position as much. But there were a few times where I think Logan Holloman cranked a triple in this game, like to lead off inning. Wasn't this game, which blew my mind. Shout out Logan Holloman. Didn't know you had that in you. It might have been game 2. Either way, I think it was game 3. But she cranked a triple at one point, and then we couldn't get her in from third, even though that was a leadoff triple. There was moments like that. But we did end up winning 2-1. Nyjah was great in this game. And Glasgow said in his press conference today, you don't want to win the conference and then lose the last series of the year. Thought it was a great conclusion to the season to be able to go out there and get that done as a team. So he was happy with it, but acknowledged the things to get better heading into Big 12 play. So you have any thoughts? And then I'll show the highlights, and then we can run through the box score.
Yeah, no, glad we got that gritty win against BYU. Again, like I said, in that rubber match, being able to come out on top of what felt like BYU might have had some momentum going into that game by winning game two. Just good stuff to see, and good to see that our bats were able to do things really well. You'll see in these highlights, Lauren Allred had herself a game going 3 for 3. So y'all see all that in the highlights. Really fun stuff to see from her.
Yep. Here's Nyes just striking out that freshman that's been so good this series and all year. Got her on that one, though.
The afternoon, zeros after one in Provo, and we've got a great pitching matchup. Korth already danced around one defensive miscue last inning, trying to do it again here.
Third inning, Lauren Allred crushes it. Biggest smile on her face ever when she gets to first base. Every time she gets a hit, I notice that. It cracks me up. I love it. She's so clutch. Leads us in RBI in the season.
And another strikeout for Kennedy, number 4.
She looked good in this game. Sometimes in her game 3, she looked like maybe she didn't have as much, oomph to her stuff in her game 3, like pitching 3 days in a row. Maybe it's because she didn't pitch as much in the second game. But she looked like almost, honestly, better than in game 1 in a way.
Has battled it to a 2-2 count against Kennedy.
How about another strikeout? Oh, JK, that's the home run. She is so good. I mean, I'm not going to encourage someone into the portal. But I'm just saying. If you want to play with Nyjah next year, and if we have the space, I don't know. Not my job. I'm just saying. I won't be shocked if teams are trying to get her to transfer. Yeah. It's a lot of at-bats like that. They just really had our number. To me, it just kind of started to feel like in Game 3 that they might have known our signs. And I don't mean that in like a negative way, because to me, old school baseball, softball, like if we're using the like hand signs and they pick them up, I feel like that's fair game. I swear that they knew, because they called like that one. We were like trying to squeeze with Maya on third to get a runner in, which I was all for. But we didn't do anything on we just watched 2 strikes like down the middle. Didn't swing or anything on the first 2 pitches. And then it seemed like then we called a squeeze when we had 2 strikes, which is weird, but like maybe we called it because they had been guessing all series when we were doing a squeeze in a traditional stand like situation. So like, oh, they'll never think we're doing a squeeze here. But then they knew we were doing a squeeze because they threw it so far out. Like, we couldn't even get to it. I don't know. Maybe it's a coincidence, but, like, kudos to them if they had us scouted that well, or maybe literally knew our signs, because it just felt like sometimes they knew when we were doing hit and runs, knew when we were doing squeezes. Maybe we need to change some things up, but that's how good they were calling things. So either way, maybe they were just that good at calling pitches that it seemed like they had our signs down. So kudos to them either way. But it was kind of a continuation of that. A little bit in Game 3, there was a few moments like that where we had a chance to score and they got out of it in a sticky situation because of great pitch calls.
Hard hit ball, chance for 2.
And then a great double play. Led off the inning with a runner on. They turn a double play the next batter. So they just played really well. I will not be shocked if they go on a run up in Oklahoma City. They did it last year in the Big 12 tournament. I think, didn't they make it all the way to the championship? Lost to OU. Something like that.
Right, it was something like that.
They beat Oklahoma State early on.
That'll do it. Texas Tech takes the series.
Got it done, though.
They are on a hot streak entering the postseason.
I wanted to know what was said between those two. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I wish sometimes we get to talk to Tara as well, but you don't ever get those. But Glasco was very complimentary of Tara in the press conference today, talking about how she's gotten really good this year at calling pitches in Game 3s, because someone asked about how we sometimes don't hit well in Game 3s. He's like, yeah, we don't ignore that. We'll talk about it. No, we talk about it, and maybe we'll try to get our girls to be more motivated because that is a trend or whatever. But he's like, also, we tend to hold people down in Game 3s as well. And he's like, that's just kind of how softball works. And if you have good pitching coaches that are good at calling pitches and can scout the other team live, because it's different. Like, yeah, you can scout them on film. And then you show up Friday or Thursday, first game of the series, and then you see them in person. And you're like, this is a completely different thing. And then you change your game plan. And he's like, that's what he feels like BYU did to us. It's like, we hit really well in Game 1. Then he felt like they really changed their pitch selection anyway, and he was talking about how Tara has done a great job of that as well, and did a really good job against BYU, who has really good hitters, keeping them all off balance. They lead the Big 12 by a wide margin in home runs, and they had like 2 or 3 home runs in this, and they were big ones, but it was like 1 home run a game against us. Nothing crazy, so we did pretty good against them. So yeah, that's kind of the overall of it. Got it done, won the series. We talked about it earlier. 60th conference series win for Gerry Glasgow. His teams have never lost. This team didn't lose a single one in Big 12 play. In their first year under a new staff, these players that pretty much, I mean, some of them have played together at other stops with the Louisiana ones, but it's a mosh podge of like different players and personalities and all the things. Like it's just, I don't care. Like people can try to take away and chip away at what it means, but they should be proud of what they did here. It's just not easy to put that many athletes together and say, hey, go win some games. Don't just win some games, win basically all of them against some solid opponents. It's not, Texas and OU, whatever, but you still have Arizona, Oklahoma State. BYU's a solid team. I wouldn't be shocked if they I think they deserve to be in the postseason, in my opinion. We'll see. Glasgow said something similar during the series, but we'll see. They probably need to win a game. They probably need to win their game tomorrow night, and then they probably have gotten in. But there's some really good teams, and it's one thing to win the Big 12, but to win every series, like, is the impressive thing. So I hope they take pride in that for sure.
Yeah, I agree. This season has just been incredible. Super happy that it's all worked out for this squad and for this team, and they still have a lot more work that they want to get done, but just a huge accomplishment because, even though Texas and OU left, it's still hard to win all 8 conference series, and we were facing up against some of the best pitchers in the nation within Kenzie Brown in Arizona State, Ruby Malin at Oklahoma State. We got them all to come to Lubbock somehow, but then we also had to go over to Arizona and deal with Devin Nets and everything, and we were still able to get wins against all of those great pitchers. So, I mean, I just think that it's such a cool story for this team, and I'm so glad that they were able to be Big 12 champs, and they're going to try to get another Big 12 championship this weekend, hopefully, and just keep working at it. Yep.
It's definitely possible. So they start up their Big 12 tournament at 1:30 on Thursday. The game time and all that's already set. They just don't know who your opponent will be, but it'll be at 1:30 Central on Thursday on ESPN Plus. They will play either Kansas or Baylor. 2 teams, and they play tomorrow at 2:30. So we'll know pretty soon who we're playing, and they can get on to scouting. But with both teams, we did sweep this year on the road. Mm-hmm. I will say Baylor is playing a lot better than when we played them. Now, they did lose their series to Iowa State. Iowa State's like the 3 seed. Did you notice that?
Yeah, I know. I was like,
happen?
I don't know.
Like, just quietly doing their thing over there. But, like, I don't think they have the resume to make postseason because their non-con was so bad. But they're in Big 12 play. Iowa State went on a run. Anyway, so they lost, but Iowa State's been solid in Big 12. But Baylor's been a lot better than I think. They've kind of figured it out since we played them. So that would be a challenge. Kansas has some good players as well. I think Baylor has the hitting champ of the league. I think the highest Govan, I believe, has the highest batting average in the conference. So she's been doing well, and then they have some good pitchers. So we'll be ready, but it's been a while since we played both teams. I think they're both a little bit different. We'll see who wins. I think Baylor would be expected to win that game, but I don't know. So do you have any thoughts on either of those opponents or the matchups ahead?
Yeah, I think that I kind of like that draw a little bit better than how it was originally going to fall between Baylor and Kansas. Obviously, it's going to be hard to beat the same team 4 times in one season, especially with Baylor of late, just because, they also have history with their coach that's been there forever. But I definitely think that we should be able to get some solid win on the road, and ideally how I want this to end up is we end up run rolling them, or we don't have to use Naija as much because, then we would have to play the winner of Oklahoma State or Arizona State on that Friday at 1:00, and that is going to entail another Naija versus Malin or Naija versus Brown matchup again, and,
for sure,
make my heart rate go up. But we'll see. Yeah, this team has it in them, right?
Yeah, someone asked, I have some notes from the press conference and I can go through them, but specific to that, since you brought it up, someone asked him if he was going to start Chloe. just straight up asked him, is Chloe going to start game one? And he didn't. He's like, I haven't even thought about it yet. So we'll see what they do. But I don't know. I kind of got the vibe that Nyjah might start, just the way he was answering it. But he might have really not thought about it yet. But he also stressed how important winning is and getting to the semifinals, and that they weren't going to like just assume that they're going to win game one. But he said he felt good with Chloe or Nyjah. But I think his direct quote was, postseason is do or die. It's single elimination. You have to rethink your decisions on how you'll do some things. You don't want to go out early, but that he feels good about Chloe and Nyjah in the circle. So I think you'll see a lot of them this weekend. Because again, it is kind of a 3-game series like you've been doing, because if we play in all, it's 3 games, but there's no like, hey, yeah, it's cool if we lose game 2, or it's cool if we drop game 1. Like you lose, you go home. So the way they'll do it will be a bit different. So it will be interesting to see. I think ideally, if Nyjah maybe starts game 1, we get some runs going and then take her out would be ideal. But we'll see. They trust Chloe as well. Chloe's been pitching great lately.
She has
some big games. And she did really well against Arizona State in her game. So if it does end up being Arizona State, and she did well against Oklahoma State too, didn't she have game 2 of that doubleheader? That feels like eons ago. But remember,
yes, she did. Yes.
She's pitched well against both of those teams that we could see the second day. So it's not the worst matchup in the world, but they have seen her on the flip side. So anyway, and then Baylor was a series that Chloe pitched in as well. And
Game
she did
2,
well.
and that's when we blew them up. It was
So
like 14-0.
she probably did good against Kansas too. So all of these, they should feel good either way they go, but we'll see how that goes. But other just random notes. I just kept some notes during the press conference of things that y'all might care about. He said Nyjah is close to 90 to 100%. We love to hear that. No one else got injured this weekend, and everybody's feeling pretty as healthy as they can be going into the postseason. The girls have been off this week so far. They've practiced now by the time you're watching this. They had practice today, but it's finals week. So remember, student athletes, y'all. Student athletes. So some people forget that, but this is an awkward time for athletes, for softball players, because they're going through finals and then, hey, go play your conference tournament. Another reason it was great for them to get the 1 seed, gave them a little bit more time, but they're actually staying in Lubbock. They're not flying up there, I think, until tomorrow, Wednesday. So that they can get all their finals done and then just be able to focus on softball. But that's what they're going through. Someone asked about the lineup and how often he changes it, and Demi being in the 2-hole one game, in the 9-hole the next. And he said, yeah, we feel pretty good about our lineup. We know like Maya's going to start. We kind of know who the 2, 3, 4, 5 hitters are. And it's just figuring out who's going to be the 2 and who's going to be the 8, 9 hitters each day. He's like, that's going to change for us. It's never going to be the same. It's based on matchups. He talked about Demi. He likes Demi because he's like, I know she'll do well in the 2-hole like she did against BYU in game 1, or the 9-hole in Glasgow's lineups. Some casuals or traditionalists even may think you put your worst hitter in the 9-hole. That's not the case if you really watch the sport, and that's not the case in Glasgow's lineups. So he talked a lot about that, about how he wants that person to be actually one of our best hitters, and so he switches it based on matchups. He talks a lot about it. I think it might be on YouTube, so you can go watch the whole thing if you want to get into the real nitty-gritty of that. Brings up Reagan Jennings, says, really feel like we have 11 to 12 players on this team that are great. He said his specific words were, I think we have the best pinch hitter in the league. Reagan Jennings is 8 for 13. I didn't know that stat. That's a crazy stat. 8 for 13 as a pinch hitter this year. And then she's hitting about 400 if she's just in the lineup otherwise as well. And she's ready to go. Logan Holloman, he mentioned her in the same role, can come in. So he feels good about the lineup. But someone asked if he felt like he had a set lineup going into the postseason. He was like, no. Like, we have set 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hitters, or 3, 4, 5 hitters. But these other spots are going to change based on matchups. So that's why it moves around so much, if anyone wondered. And then he just talked about a lot about confidence and success. And he's like, yeah, we're still growing as a program and really proud of what this group did because of all the new and turning around a program. And it's been really tough and all the work that's gone on behind the scenes. And he's really thankful for all the people that helped out. But he said it is like we're still figuring out who we are, to be honest, a little bit as a team, as crazy as that sounds this deep in the year, just because it is so much new. But he's hoping that they've gained a lot of confidence from what they've done. And specifically, he said he hopes they gain a lot of confidence tomorrow, which will be Wednesday, depending on when you're watching this, when the Big 12 awards come out. So keep an eye on that. I would expect a lot of names from Texas Tech to be in that running. I don't know. I mean, pitcher of the year feels likely to be Nyjah. Player of the year, though, I don't know. I think Devin Nets might. We'll see. We'll see who gets player of the year. And then first team All Big 12. Yeah, there should be some Red Raiders on the All Big 12 teams. That comes out on Wednesday. So, hey, you talked a lot about that, hoping that gives them more confidence to be like, hey, it's not just us telling you like you're about to get a lot of nominations and awards from Big 12. So that was kind of the gist of it. And then the last thing that we thought was cool is someone asked them about how you motivate the players, or the ones that haven't been here before. Because there's actually a lot of experience postseason-wise on this roster, just not at Texas Tech. All the Louisiana players have been there, obviously. Najah's been to the World Series. Alana Johnson's been in the World Series. There's a lot of experience there. But he said, talking to the freshmen, he says it's more about, like, getting them to do it for someone other than themselves. Like, hey, it's not about you. You have a lot of years left. Basically, like, get over yourself. He didn't say that. That's me saying that. Do this for your seniors. Do this for Demi. He said, let's get Demi to a World Series. Let's get Alexa to a World Series. And so he talked about how that's how he tries to motivate the players that maybe haven't been there, the younger players. Is like, hey, it's not about you. It's about the seniors. Do this for them. And that kind of takes the pressure off, really, as well, just the emotions of it. So it's a good little press conference. It should be on the Texas Tech YouTube page if you want to watch the full thing, but that was the gist of it.
Really like what he said at the end, right? Trying to motivate the freshmen. As y'all know, like, we have the best shortstop, third base freshman duo in the entire country. And we need them to really bring their A game, especially if we are trying to get Lex and Demi to that World Series spot. And, everyone's just going to have to step up and work hard. Postseason softball starts Thursday, and we just have a lot of work that this team still wants to get done. They're shot at forever, and I'm just super excited to see what's to come. I know that we're going to bring our best game for it. Hopefully we'll get another Big 12 championship in the tournament, and then we'll go on and figure out our seeding. But I definitely think that this Big 12 tournament, just so that the NCAA committee doesn't get anything weird or funny about it, I think that you for sure got to have to advance somewhat far into this Big 12. Semifinals, just to play it
which
safe.
Is just one game, but
you don't know, right? Just one game. Just got to play it safe because you never know.
Yeah, and also it's like one of those things where when you're trying to build that confidence, that culture of winning and success and all that, is you never want to go into a series thinking like, oh, I don't need to win this game. Like you always want to go in like, being killers. So it's a good chance to like a preview, a warm up to regionals. So yeah, let's go do it. In the Big 12 tournament's early enough. Like some of these conference tournaments go so deep, like they're not done till Sunday. If you get rain, you could not be done till Monday. Like hopefully if the weather holds, like even if you make the championship, you're done at like 2 p.m. or something on Saturday. They'll be back in Lubbock by Saturday night. And so they can really start recovering. And then if you win the Big 12 championship, definitely you're hosting. There's no question. And then you're not going to be traveling that week. So like the recovery process shouldn't be that big of a thing because you won't have to play until Thursday or whatever next week for the region. So yeah, go for it if you can. I don't think this team has any, like, they're going in there trying to win for sure. It'll be interesting. If my travel goes okay, I'm driving up there tomorrow, so I'll be there to kind of cover the team on site, which will be fun. I think maybe they'll at least have one Texas Tech media person there, but I think maybe someone else is going, so that'll be hype.
Sweet.
They didn't have anybody last year, which I hated. When I heard that, I was like, someone should have told me. I would have flown there from North Carolina and covered the team and there was no Texas Tech representation there. But they'll at least have St. Scarlett will be there. I think maybe one of the news stations is going to. They reached out to me earlier. So that's how much Texas Tech softball has changed. Nobody to some representation going. So that's cool. I'm just excited to go and see the stadium just as a sports fan. That's really just...
Hopefully we'll book another trip there, and
and then I'll know the lay of the land, and we'll both be there. I'm gonna get Tyler in there. I'm like he's done with school now. Let Tyler come in here too. So can't wait to watch them do their thing up in OKC. Hopefully a fun 3-4 days ahead for them. Another team that I hope this time next year. We've already had a postseason run from this team. Tyler, let us pray, everybody. Moment of silence. All right, Texas Tech, Lady Raiders, they signed another player, a really solid get, in Sidney Love from UTSA. 5'10 guard, 3-year starter down there. We did a whole video on her. Again, you can go find that. Before I let Tyler give a little bit of breakdown on her, because I know he's a big fan, I had a revelation about her the other day.
Oh, you did?
I
okay.
did. So you know what UTSA's hand sign is? right?
For Roadrunners.
Yeah. You know what Texas Tech's hand sign is?
The guns.
You combine them together, it's love.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Wait. Okay. 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 We're cooking here.
Isn't that crazy? I think it's I
I
love
know.
you, right? In the
Yeah.
sign language, but still.
Huh. I never
UTSA,
thought of that.
Texas
Okay.
Tech, combine them together, it's love. Sidney Love is a Red Raider or a Lady Raider. It's just meant to be. I had this revelation. I was like, Sydney. I'm sure that was the recruiting pitch. That's all Gerlich did. And the thing was like, so Sydney, let me sit you down and show you this hand sign thing that I figured out. That's probably all it took. But no, she came here. No, it's a really solid get. I don't know what her role will be on the team, but she'll have a major role in this team, whether it's working her way in the starting lineup. I think right now I kind of see her as the off the bench, first player off the bench because she can play in different spots. But she averaged 10.3 points per game, 3.6 rebounds, 3.6 assists, and 31.9 minutes played. Tyler, what else you got on her? What's your favorite things about Sydney?
Yeah, Sydney came. Basically, what I love about Sydney is she was built as like a foundational legacy player, and you'll even see on some of seeing Scarlett's like interactions. Like, there's a lot of these San Antonio accounts that absolutely love her and want the best for her
Very
here
well
at
loved.
Tech. Her whole story, just a quick summary. You can hear the whole story on our show about her. But basically, Coach Karen Aston, who was the former UT coach that recruited #1 NBA draft picks, got them to the Elite everything. When they didn't re-sign her, she ended up taking the job at UTSA. And basically, she had nothing to work with there. UTSA had no money, no nothing. And she basically was like, all right, we got to recruit locally. Picked up Sydney from, I think, Cibolo High School. Said, you know what? We're going to work on her. Yeah, still high school. Worked on her and just made her into a foundational player for that program. Got them to win their first American regular season conference championship. And she's just done great. And then Coach Gerlich apparently has known Sidney Love for a while on the staff. She said, quote, "Our staff has known Sidney Love for a long time. We are incredibly proud of her accomplishments during her time at UTSA. As a 3-year starter, she concluded her last season with an AAC regular season championship. In our search for an impact player at the guard position, Sidney is the perfect fit. She'll provide an immediate boost of athleticism to our backcourt and provides us with an additional ball handler. We're excited to welcome Sidney to our Red Raider family." So, Sidney Love looks like she's going to be just a perfect puzzle piece for our team, and this is someone that we really needed.
Yeah, I think she fits a role. Like, a lot of people have asked who, and I think the closest is Logan, but she's different than Logan as well. But she brings that slasher, get to the bucket type player that really only I'd say Bailey has that in her. But the rest of our players, that's not really their strong suit. Like, they're shooters or they do other things well. But we needed another player like that. So it's good to have her out there, and she can play point guard. She can play off ball. She's very versatile. Again, a lot of experience. So excited to have Sydney. Go watch the full episode, about a 20-minute show that we did on her that has film and all the things. It's on YouTube back. I'll probably link it up here at some point while we're talking. You'll see a button that you can click as well, or down in the comments. You'll see it, or in the description. But that is there. They do still have the room to work. They're in the middle of a recruiting shutdown right now, though. So you likely won't see any news unless
Nothing.
one of the people that visited last week decides to commit, or if we offered them. I don't even know, because sometimes you don't know how that works. But there were 2 people on campus last week. But other than that, they can't have any visitors this week. They're hopefully getting some sleep in. Maybe, I think I saw one of the coaches gone on vacation, as they deserved, for a few days. So good for them. Enjoy it. They've been working. And one sidebar before we move on to the vlog. We have one more note on the Lady Raiders, but I really appreciate the energy of this coaching staff.
Oh, 100%.
Yes. I don't know if it's going to come to fruition, but they're talking some big game, and I love it. All the new coaches are like, let us work, working in silence. Y'all just wait. We're doing work. We're doing work. I don't remember the exact words, but Katera Chappell put that out, and then Jada Williams said the same thing, like, let us cook. I was like, okay, let them cook. Let them cook. I love the new energy. You need some of that. And then I feel like that's going off onto our incumbent staff as well. And then Daru put something out that I think his specific words were, we're going to put together a Lady Raider roster everybody, all fans, can be proud of, were his words.
Absolutely love that.
Please. So we'll see what that roster looks like in a few weeks. I think my thing on this roster is it might be a few weeks. I think they might extend into June before you have a final roster, and that could be a good thing. And I'll leave it there. Moving on, they also announced that they're going to play in the 2025 FISU World University Games in Germany in July. I believe July 15th-ish. It kicks off somewhere in there. They are going to be the Team USA women's basketball representative. The men's basketball representative is Baylor, so fellow Big 12 team going to this. And there's like a ton of different like gymnastics and archery, and it's like a little bit of like a mini Olympics kind of thing going on. That's going on there, but they bring in like college teams to represent them, I guess. And yeah, it should be cool. There's 16 countries there. The one thing is our foreign players can't participate because it's a Team USA, it's a USA basketball event. Well, it's a world event, but we're playing as Team USA. Right. So naturally, our players that are not U.S. citizens can't play on Team USA. That's not how it works. But I did ask to confirm they are allowed to travel with the team and practice, which I think is almost more important. The fact that they get to practice, because you really don't get to start practices legally until the fall, like real practices. But because of this, they're going to be given like a week or 2 weeks or whatever. They're going to be allowed to kind of get games in and practice a little bit. So those players won't be able to play, but they'll be able to practice. But then our U.S. native players, I guess, will. So right now there's only 7 of those, and that's going to be a lot of run. I expect there to be 1 or 2 more before the roster's finalized, but I think it's really good for Bailey, Danae, Jalen Malone, Adley, Bird, and Sidney as it stands. That's a fun 7. That's a really good shooting 7. 5 of 7 of those are really good 3-point shooters. So a little bit different than maybe what we'll be running with full, but I mean, let them win the roles. I mean, Bird especially could go show herself how much she's grown up this summer or something, and that would be pretty cool. And then Adley could just shoot the lights out. It could be fun. I wish I could go.
Yeah. I wish I could go too.
Yeah.
But super exciting. Y'all represent our country well. Well, USA women's basketball has a really high precedent and standards, so I'm holding y'all to that.
Like, are they going to wear the Team USA jerseys? I don't know how this works.
I have no idea. But if they do not disrespect our country and our name. I take Olympics level stuff seriously, so
Tyler does take Olympics seriously.
Yeah, I do.
Don't disrespect. No, yeah, go
Don't
out there and play. So it'll be interesting. Yeah, and then like, yeah, I don't know how the other teams are missing some of their best players because we got some of them on our team and they can't play for them, so maybe that'll help a little bit. We got
for sure.
we got Spain's starting point guard on our team, right? That's what I'm telling myself.
Basically.
So she'll just be there watching us. But yeah, so that's pretty cool. I think you can actually go if you're a fan. There was a little note at the very end of the team's press conference. If you are interested in going at all, there's an email to reach out to someone at Texas Tech. They'll help you with travel arrangements and like how to buy tickets and stuff. So if you actually want to take a summer vacation to Germany, seems expensive, so I'm probably not going to be doing that, but you can if you want to. It's possible.
Yes.
Tyler.
Who knows?
Go backpacking. If I was in college, I probably would have done it. I probably would have been like, excuse to go to Europe, let's go.
Study basketball abroad.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny. So that is women's basketball. We talked a little bit about women's tennis at the start of the show. Their season has come to an end. It's been so much fun following this team. I'm already looking forward to the next season, but they're just a great little team. They went all the way to the second round. They were able to host this year, which is a big accomplishment for the university, getting back to doing that. They swept Boston. I was there on Friday. Light work. Nothing. It was quick and easy. That thing was over real quick, which is not usually the case in tennis. Light work against Boston. Did our thing in front of a packed house. Shout out Joey McGuire. Hilarious
phenomenal
video with Casey, their SID for tennis. She apparently put that together. It was great. But the whole thing was great. Got a lot of people out. I think we saw the whole coaching staff for Lady Raiders. You saw them there, right?
Oh, yeah, they were all there.
I saw a couple of them by the time I got there. I saw Wes Kitley, I'm pretty sure, was out there. But maybe I don't know if they were running, so I don't know. I thought I saw the track team and track coaches out there. I was kind of on the other end. There was a lot of different coaches that came out and showed support, and then obviously fans. I saw a bunch of athletes there as well. Ran into a few from soccer, basketball, different sports were there. So always good to see the support for sure. They won that game on Friday. Then they lost a tough one to the team in women's tennis. Stanford has won more championships in the sport than anybody. And they looked like it. And they came and they were good. We fought.
Yeah.
I think it was a 4-1 loss. We got a point in there. Just couldn't get the doubles point, and that's been tough for this team all year. We were up in doubles at one point in this, and then Stanford just kind of took it. They were very well conditioned. I talk about our team being conditioned. We didn't have like a conditioning advantage over them. I don't know if they had one over us, but it was even. So they were just really good. But we battled, had our chances. Just couldn't get it done. But great season. Really cool what they did. I think they lose one player. Avelina graduates. Other than that, they should hopefully all return and get to run it back next year.
Yeah. Hopefully they can run it back next year, but great season. I mean, they won the regular season and the tournament Big 12 championship.
Yeah.
Did some great things. Only lost 2 games all year. And then, when you're going up against an experienced team like Stanford, obviously that's going to be tough. But I'm really proud of them. They were able to host. I'm really proud of Red Raider Nation for showing out. I mean, even in the middle of a work day on Friday, they all still came out and supported everybody.
Too.
Yeah, everybody was out there supporting our tennis team. So that just goes to show the culture that they're building there. Coach Adam has built, just absolutely incredible. So very excited for what's to come for this program.
It's cool. It's a really fun sport to watch in person. It's kind of like hockey. Hockey's not super exciting to me on TV, just because you can't really see. And tennis is the same way because you usually have a weird angle. In person, right. It's really intense, and because there's so many things going on at the same time, and you're you can't choose. You can roam around. It's great. Good times. And they're just really intense. So it's good stuff. Moving into baseball. I feel for them because they have played literally the number 1 strength of schedule in the country. It's back up to number 1 after this weekend. My thing with this baseball team, and I talked with someone about this at tennis, actually. Someone asked me about baseball. I was like, well, that's not the sport we cover the closest, but I got you. I'll talk about it. So I was talking about the baseball team with this person. I was like, this is what I think of the baseball team. I think they've discovered about 1 to 3 pitchers that are pretty good for this team. They found them, and those pitchers have gotten a little confidence going. And that's enough to maybe win a Big 12 series, or at least hang around a Big 12 series, and they've been doing that lately. They beat a top 25 Arizona last week, and they almost won a series with West Virginia, who's number 16. They broke. West Virginia had a crazy long Big 12 winning streak coming into that series, and we beat them in game 1 to break that on the road, and then played some close games in the next 2 and just couldn't get the next games. But then you got murdered by UTRGV before that in the midweek. And to me, that's the pitching thing, is we just don't have the pitching to be playing these midweeks. I think they're playing one right now, and I'm terrified to look. Tyler, you can look. But I just feel like the pitching is tough when you're lacking pitching. It's hard to play midweeks because in baseball, they can't pitch as often. And so you're really relying on your 3rd, 4th, kind of 5th rotation pitchers to get it done on Wednesdays so you can keep your starters fresh. That's kind of my take on this team, is pitching is the struggle. Sometimes hitting has as well. On Sunday they got good pitching and they couldn't hit. But I don't know. It's been a really tough schedule, and they just haven't been able to step up to the challenge consistently. They do have some pretty easy, or I think they have 2 bottom of the conference teams in their next 2 weekends. There's a world they could sweep both of them and all of a sudden be on a 6-game winning streak going to the Big 12 tournament, because their schedule, again, it's been the hardest schedule in the country, especially the Big 12. It's been very front heavy, and their teams to end it, I think it's BYU and Cincinnati or something. If they swept those, then all of a sudden you're feeling real good. So we'll see. It's just do they have the pitching? I really hope they're murdering New Mexico right now. That's all I can hope.
They actually, because of rain delay, they had to move the start time to 7:10. So they will be playing New Mexico later. Yes, but they do play in Lubbock this weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday against UCF. So I think y'all go out and go support them. I think that might be their last home series here, unless we play BYU on the road. Yeah.
On the road.
It's our last conference series at home. So y'all go out and support them. It looks like they're playing at 6, 2, and 1.
Yeah, so UCF is 6-18 in Big 12 play, and BYU is 7-17. They're not the 2 worst teams, but Utah is 5-19. So the 2 of the bottom 3 teams in the conference, you have 6 games against. Now you're at 11-13, so you're not too far from that yourself, but you're in the middle of the conference, so. You win 6 games, you finish Big 12 play 17-13. It's not terrible.
Their RPI also went up.
There's a path
from
here.
70 to 57 or something. So there is a path, but you're going to do some damage in the tournament.
Team, because they don't have a lot of depth, like pitching, and they seem, I don't know. I got to watch them start to finish for the first time the other day, really, in Big 12 play, and I know we're missing Pompey, that hurts, but just the hitting, like, look really young, like small compared to West Virginia. Like, it was like grown men versus little kids is what it looked like to me. We're getting hits, but like just the size difference, I was like, whoa, interesting. But yeah, I don't think they're as bad as people think. But we're just used to being better because we have higher aspirations as a baseball program, which is totally fair because of where this program's been. They've been to 4 College World Series in not too distant past here. So, yeah, I get it from fans. I do. Maybe some changes coming, but they legit could finish the season 6-0 in Big 12 play. If they don't take advantage of the next 6 games, that's a whole other conversation. Let's not even have that. They're going to win. They're gonna win Cincinnati against New Mexico. Then they're gonna sweep UCF at home, feeling real good, headed to BYU.
For sure.
Let's round out with track. Tyler, what do you got on them?
Yeah, so they had a great showing. They wrapped up their season this past weekend, I think Thursday and Friday, at the Corky Crowfoot Shootout here at Texas Tech. The biggest thing in that one was it was to honor like all the seniors, their last meet at home. Obviously, we honored 34 of them, so thank you to all 34 seniors for being part of this historic track program. I mean, I think all of them get to go.
A lot of trophies in their day.
Yes, a lot of them get to go as Big 12 champions. So that's super exciting for them. And then they get this next weekend off, but now they're going to obviously be preparing for the Big 12 championships in Lawrence starting May 15th. We'll share all the results and all the highlights from that. So hopefully we can get, Big 12 championships out of that in outdoor. It's a little bit tougher in outdoor than it is indoor for us, but I think we can do it.
Yeah, I think I saw 10th. One team's ranked 10th, the other one 11th, somewhere in the tour. I think both teams may be top 11 in the country. So I would assume that means we're pretty high in the Big 12. I know BYU is usually pretty good in track. Houston, usually like individually. As a whole team, though, I don't know where everyone is. Kansas had some good moments, and getting to do it on their home track could be an advantage for them. We'll see. We'll pay attention. That's the same weekend as softball regionals, naturally, because that's how life goes. But it'll be a big track and softball episode. Celebrating lots of wins. Manifesting it, Tyler. All right, that's your show this week. Next time you hear from us, Texas Tech softball will be a postseason team again. Isn't that crazy? It's been a while, 2019. Right? There's no question. There's no sweating out the decision day. We're in the postseason for softball. That's crazy. We're there. It's a matter of if we'll host, which I think we will. But we'll see. The committee hates us, so we'll find out. I do believe on that. I think someone told me they're doing a watch party on Sunday. That doesn't surprise me. I think it may also be open to the public, but I haven't seen the team announce that yet. So just keep an eye out for that. The team they're going to do some sort of watch party for all the teams. They always do that. If it will or won't be open to the public, you'll find out if you want to go hang out with the team. They've done that before, so I don't know where that would be for softball, if they go to the basketball arena or how they would accommodate fans at their training facility. I don't know. Logistics there, but keep an eye out for that because you won't see us before then, other than I'll post some content from up in OKC, hopefully on a long run this weekend. Either way, I get to see the stadium, so it's fun for me. I get to get the lay of the land for June.
Yes. Let's get ready. Let's do this.
Let's do this. Big times ahead. All right, y'all. Y'all know the drill. That's all we got. Rack 'em.